5 little habits that will change your life. By the end of this video or podcast, wherever you're watching or listening, you're going to have 5 little habits you can bring into your world that will change your life. I'm Jono White, founder and principal consultant of Clarity. We work with leaders around the world, and I just want to thank you for subscribing, following, liking, sharing. If you haven't done that yet, please do that now. That's because it helps us to get the word out, to invest in more leaders to become the very best they can be, and it means that you'll also stay in the loop with all of our content. We're constantly producing new content about leadership to invest in your leadership journey. So, 5 little habits that will change your life. Let's jump straight into it with this one. The first habit that I want to say is to exercise every day. Oh, fast forward, Jono, come on, get to the productivity. Okay, stop. You need to think how, whatever it is that you want to get better at, whether it's in your leadership, whether it's in your studies if you're a student, whether it's in your relationships, we severely underestimate the power of exercise. Exercise is so important. I do a lot of work around employee well-being, working with leaders to go, how are our people actually going? And you would be amazed the impact that exercise has on employee well-being. It's significant. If you want people to enjoy their jobs more, do whatever you can as a leader to free them up, to invest in them, to help them, to include more exercise in their lives. It's not the whole answer, but my point is that if you can make this little habit, maybe you're too busy with all your big ideas and too much on in your study to exercise. No, that's not good enough. If you want to change your life, then exercise every day. Something small. Start small. Go for a walk. Walk for 10 minutes. You're already getting a coffee. Instead of driving down there, walk 10 minutes and back. I need to take this on board too. So the first habit that will change your life, the first little habit, is to exercise every day. I'm gonna stay with this theme, and I'm gonna go habit number 2, that a small habit that will change your life, and it's about your bedtime. You know, once again, you might be thinking you've come to this video because you want some mega lifestyle change, but what time did you go to bed last night? What time did you go to bed on average last week? The reason I ask you is that the research about sleep is dramatic. It basically says that for students, we've all been there. I remember being there as a student where you cram stuff in the night before and you don't get much sleep, but you've gone through all the material. The research says that you're better getting an extra hour of sleep than doing an extra hour of cramming every time. Every time. Go to bed an hour earlier and you'll do better on the exam than if you spend an extra hour cramming. Crazy. So for you want to change your life? Small habit. Go to bed earlier, get more sleep. I know it sounds tiny, but it can be really, really significant. The third small habit that will change your life, and I know once again some people might have come here wanting, you're in a really dark place and you're wanting to do this massive life change, but trust me in this. Give these things a go. The third one I'd say is smiling. Smiling. Yes, we've heard songs about it. Let me encourage you to do something. Next time you're sitting in the audience with a friend doing the presentation or sitting in an audience at an event, smile at the person speaking. I assure you, you'll be surprised how often they'll catch your eye, see your smile, and you know what? If you've ever presented, you'll know this. When you're presenting, people often give you such a dead fish sort of look that you're just like, I need to remember to focus. And when you can sit in an audience and smile back at someone, it cuts through. It really helps the person presenting. And I just use that as an example, but you can smile in everyday life. When you're walking past someone on the street and you're in a dark place, well, smile. It's a little habit, but it changes things. People are more welcoming. When you go to get your coffee, give them a big smile. You're not being some sort of crazy clown. What you're doing is you're just shifting. You know, there's this saying in leadership that I love, that I first heard from a great leader, Australian leader called Kath Tallick, and she used this phrase around being a thermostat, not a thermometer. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. What do we mean? Well, the thermometer comes in and measures what the temperature's already like in the room. Walks into the cafe, it's a bit awkward, everyone's a bit stressed and down. But a thermostat is what you go into a house and it's really hot, particularly in Australia where I'm based. It's really hot, but the thermostat, you know what? Let's bring the temperature down so it's nice and cool. The thermostat changes the temperature of the room. So I want to encourage you, be a thermostat. That's what smiling does. Wherever you go, you can actually change the temperature of the room, of the moment, of the person's day you're dealing with. That's a really tiny thing, but I would highly encourage you to do that. The fourth little habit that will change your life is to measure. Measure things. Are you struggling financially? When's the last time you measured your spending? And what I mean by that, when's the last time you actually monitored, sat down and went through your expenses, categorized them? I know some of you are dying inside at the thought of a spreadsheet doing that. But this is the trick with little habits that change your life. People think, okay, so I need to measure it, and then what? Well, this is the amazing thing. It doesn't matter then what. It doesn't matter what you do then. Because once you measure, it's actually the process of measuring that helps you with your finances. It's the process of measuring just to get an idea of how many calories I'm eating that helps you with working out if you're a healthy diet. We talked about sleep and exercise. It's the process of measuring how often you're running, walking, exercising, how many hours of sleep you're getting a night. What do I do with that? Just measuring it will help you get better at it. A little habit that will help you improve is anything you want to change, measure it. Sleep, exercise, in your work, in your studies, how long are you studying? Don't try to change how long you're studying, just measure it. See what comes back. And the fifth little habit that will change your life is active listening. Active listening is so easy. I don't know if you've ever heard about active listening before. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've read whole books about it. But active listening is basically this idea. Firstly, it's important to note most of us, when we listen, are passive listening. Passive listening is where we're starting to think about what I'm going to respond with. I've got a mate chatting with me. Oh yeah, and I'm starting to think of what I'm going to say next. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just how we naturally do things. But we can change that. And a little habit you can do is anyone in your world, the barista who makes your coffee, your mate chatting to you over lunch, your work colleague, the person you're leading, your mum, try active listening. Active listening, the easiest first step you can do as a little habit is that whenever someone says something to you, just repeat back the last thing they've said to them. And particularly if you're having a conversation, and just to sort of clarify it. People think, won't I seem like a weirdo? Well, yes, if you do this every single conversation with your significant other, then maybe they're going to think you might want to tell them what you're doing. But the point is that when your mate is telling you about some really stressful thing at work, and he says something along the lines of, and then, so I didn't know what to say, and so I just didn't even deal with it, and it's just been sitting on my mind a bit recently, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. Okay, so you're normally thinking what you're going to say next. Yeah, that happened to me actually. Well, instead, repeat back to him. Say something like, yeah, so you were sort of a bit unsure of what to do about it, and it sounds like it was weighing pretty heavily on you. All I've done is I've basically said what he said, but in my own words, with an inflection to be like, just repeating it back. And people, you know what, people will appreciate that, and they'll often actually just thank you, and then they'll keep going with their story. Excuse me. I didn't expect to get that in this video, did you? But you did. So 5 little habits, including a sneeze, that will change your life. I hope this has been helpful. If this has helped you to get clear on anything in your leadership, then please comment wherever you're watching or listening with the word clarity. And you can see I'm about to sneeze again, so I'm going to have to go. But I just want to thank you for subscribing, following, liking, sharing. If you haven't done that, please do that now. And thanks for spending time with me. It's an honor to invest in your journey as a leader, whether you're 60 years young or you're still in school and you are wanting to grow in your leadership journey. It's an honor to be investing in you as a leader. And I look forward to catching you next time.